Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 12 of Squid QE podcast with guest. Yes, I'm aware that it's been a while since I last posted on here. Just a lot of life stuff got in the way, and mostly because I ran out of guests. But we got an excited episode here, part two of Buckshot returning to talk more about Quake and what's been going on since we last chatted. Buckshot, how you doing today?
What's up, man?
That's good. I'm doing good too.
Doing
Yeah,
pretty good. I'm doing great.
that's awesome.
Glad to be back on the show, the first guest to return.
I'm glad to be doing this here. I really did want to do more of this stuff here, but I had some people who just said that they didn't have enough time to do it, so there was a few cancellations there, and then I just didn't find any people for a while. But now we're back, so hopefully I can make this a recurring thing, or at least do this every once in a while and stuff there. But yeah,
Nice.
that's great there. But
The only
yeah,
Quake podcast I ever heard of, so I'm
really.
down.
So you
I'll
never,
listen.
you never.
Was there another one?
Yeah, wasn't there?
Oh,
What's the one with I interviewed him, didn't or was it?
oh, those two guys
Well,
that
I
were
know
on.
Into Keep did Quake for a little while, but what was the other? Oh, geez, I know somebody told me this, and I don't remember. Wasn't it like QuakeCast or something? I thought it was something like that. There, I'm not 100% sure, but yeah,
Well,
I do know there is another.
I never
one.
heard of it, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I
Well,
listened to yours.
I appreciate that, man. But yeah, why don't you go ahead and tell me what's been new, what's been going on since we last chatted?
Um, Gee, I don't remember when we last chatted. I don't know. As far as like CRX, the mod just added some more stuff,
Mhm.
new modes. There's this mode in Quake World that's like Super Smash Brothers. Garrett, I forget the guy's name. Gave him credit on my website, but Bosch was asking me to add that, so I threw it. It's basically like a mode where there's no walls, and you just try to knock the guys off, and you can like grab on ledges and stuff. You've played Super Smash Brothers?
Admittingly, I have not,
Oh,
but
are
I
you
have
aware?
heard of it.
You know
Yeah,
how it works? So,
yeah,
okay, it's a lot like that. Yeah, and
gotcha.
I added some things like power ups, like the ring, and I made a few maps like Ultra Rav and stuff.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's not very popular. Mostly here it's like FFA and TDM.
Hmm.
I'm just happy to get games, so I don't really care.
For the record of the viewers out there, Buckshot had a really cool sound and model pack that I was going to demonstrate on here, but for some reason I couldn't get it working, so that didn't end up
Yeah, that's
happening. But,
probably my bad. I probably should have tested it in QE before I just assumed it would work.
or
But
maybe
yeah, just
maybe I should use something other than QE.
that could work too. I know it does work in FTE and
Yeah.
pretty much everything else. I'm not sure what's up with the limitations on QE. Maybe some of the sound files are too big or something. I don't know.
I mean, I know in the past I never really had problems loading up, Dan, but of course I never really tried a whole lot of custom ones.
But
But
I got like inside that pack I sent you. There's like 40 like intermission music. That those files are like half a meg each, and then there's a whole bunch of like sounds like when you kill, like just for FFA, like if you're used to like Quake Live pub servers and stuff, like Duke Nukem does bitchin' or whatever, like when you get like a bunch of kills in a row and stuff like that, just to spice it up a little bit. Plus added the railgun, and the railgun model Kilo helped me out with that, and I added the sound. So there's a bunch of stuff like that in there.
I assume the railgun you're talking about the one from Quake 2, right?
Yeah, I used the model. Actually, the armor shards are also in there, and the health vials, which look like the vials from Hexen, if you're familiar with that, the little blue
Yes.
vials. Yeah, I use those too. There's only a couple maps I put those on just to test it, but
Oh gosh.
some people don't have auto down. Like some people still connect with like clients that don't have auto downloads, so I don't have those on all the time.
Yeah, it's always a disappointing thing that QE didn't have auto download. But man, you're making me wish I really wish I could have gotten that working because that all sounds really cool and stuff. But maybe it might sound a little bit of maybe copyright material in there, but it still sounds really
Yeah,
cool. And I
don't
would
worry
have
about that. Yeah, I'm not selling anything. I mean,
Yeah, no,
I'm
no,
not.
I don't
Whatever.
because not you. I mean because YouTube gets really finicky about copyright material in it and stuff. So
Oh,
that's why it's
gotcha. Yeah,
I don't
might
know
be a
how that
problem.
would have played on the stream at that rate, but it sounds really cool there, and maybe we can at a later point get a event going or something in CRX here, and show off the models there and stuff like that. That'd be really
Sure.
cool. Really cool. Yeah, it's definitely been a while since I played Quake 1. I've been playing a lot of
Traitor.
well,
A bunch of you guys bailed. No, I'm
yeah,
guilty of it too. I mean,
yeah.
that's
Well,
just how it
like
goes.
life gets in the way and stuff like that. So, but
Yeah, people always come back.
I
I mean, those guys that ruined the Schmack,
mm-hmm.
they're diehards though. They've been playing that server for like 20 years straight. You ever been there?
What's the server?
It's Schmack. It's
Schmack.
just ruined Quake. I mean, I think they got Rocket Arena and some other stuff on there. It says Slot Zero made it. It's just FFA with a bunch of runes and a bunch of randomness.
Is that like a Netquake server or something?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I personally haven't played on there. But
Oh, that's right. I don't. Yeah. Do you even have any Netquake clients?
I have QSSM. I know I played that for Blood Rails and stuff there. And,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
but
Yeah,
outside of
Woods
that,
has been
no.
adding a lot of stuff. Like, I'm glad he added that spectate mode. That's pretty cool because I think the observer was kind of causing some issues with like the ghost players that you could see with Easy Quake, and never really had time to get that working right. And was happy about the spectate mode. That's pretty cool. I think QSSM. People say there's a disadvantage on the hybrid with stuff, and I really try to make it so there's not. But nobody wants to lose and want a reason to say why they lost. And it's I know it is a little bit choppy with like if there's somebody jumping through the air, they do kind of like skip a bit. But other than that, I mean, we've all seen Woods like own like everybody with QSSM, so I think it's definitely a viable option on the hybrid, and QAC works well too.
I definitely think, and I believe on two of my podcasts I actually played on QSSM. One was showing off Steph's stuff, and then I think the other was actually with Woods there. But I would say I think it's definitely my favorite of the Netquake clients, just because it kind of has everything that you need to be able to play a decent multiplayer.
What's that, QSSM?
Yeah, QSSM, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a kind of a little unstable earlier on, and but no, it's pretty solid now. I like it. I prefer to use FT. I just got used to it, but I know Fancy and some other people I think still use QSSM. It's definitely an option, and
Well,
I use it for Blood Rails as well, and the server. This Blood Rails server is hosted with QSSM.
Gotcha. But FT is actually that's actually Quake World, right?
It supports both.
Oh,
I can connect to Netquake servers with it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, shout out to Spike. That's a pretty, and whoever else worked on it. That's a pretty solid client too.
I tried getting Spike on this podcast, but he didn't want.
Oh, good luck with that.
I would love to hear him there because he's a great developer.
Yeah, me too.
He's done some really cool things with Quake. I don't know how long he's been doing it, but he's been doing really cool things there. And like you said, FT is one of them. But yeah, he just doesn't like being the center of attention or something. I think he said something like that.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and Rook. I know there's other people, but those two have been pretty much around since like the beginning. They've done a lot for the game.
Yeah, definitely. So what else has been new? Has there been anything new with like CRX or anything special you've been working on?
For a little while, we had some people. Like I did some stuff for the console players, like way back. It's really unfortunate that they disabled the connect command and they can't connect to servers like the one we're on right now. but I was always trying to do some stuff with like menus so that they could have a chance to vote and stuff like that. And then when they did update 4 with the CTF, that's when they added the prompts and stuff, which it's still a little flaky. I don't know, but it definitely works, and it made it a little easier. So yeah, we had like Nintendo and Wraith and a couple guys, Captain Mutron, Skippy, a bunch of guys were playing TDM and QE, and I made it so that the console players would have, would be able to vote and do stuff that they couldn't normally do. So that was something. It kind of died off though, but it's still in there.
Gotcha. Yeah, it sounds really cool. Yeah, sometimes I wish I could do things like you guys do. I've tried the whole getting behind, programming, and stuff like that.
You work in IT. Sorry, I don't mean to interview you, but I thought you worked in IT or something IT related, right?
I used to. I got laid off from my last job, which I did, tech support type stuff,
Oh, gotcha.
remoting into computers, fixing computers, stuff like that. But yeah, no, I got laid off there because the company shut down our departments and then later shut down altogether. Their contract was expired.
Yeah, that's happened to me a few times. I can relate.
Yeah, honestly, I saw it coming after they closed. I mean, it wasn't really their fault why they all shut down, but still, I saw it coming after they, said that they were going to shut our department down because that was pretty much their primary source of income and stuff like that. But yeah, yeah, they got, well, technically they got bought out by another company that.
Oh, it was one of those. Okay, I've been in a lot of those where they say no one's gonna get fired, and then like within the next couple months, the company's like 25% what it used to be.
Yeah,
that's just how it works.
I'm not 100% sure if they kept the employees or if they just wanted to start all over. I'm not really sure on that, but hopefully everybody who worked there managed to get another job and is doing that. I would like to go back in IT. Right now I'm just doing roadside service, which is.
Were you working remote or did you have to go in?
No, I worked remote.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I was working remote at first. Now they're trying to do this make everybody do like hybrid. This whole come back to the office thing. It's such a drag for me because there's never really a good time to sit in traffic just to go. It basically comes down to me having to swipe my badge just to prove that I was there. It's so stupid, but I don't know. They just got this initiative to get people to come in the office, and like I guess a lot of companies have been doing that lately.
Yeah, I don't really get it myself because it's like you think it's probably, one thing it's cheaper for the company, and then another thing I think everybody just likes it better.
Yeah, they don't have to pay for. I mean, there might be some kind of reimbursements or something like that. But I mean, they sent me a bunch. Like the place I'm at now, they sent me like monitors and like all this equipment and stuff. But like, yeah, they don't have to pay to keep the power on in the building and things like. They definitely save money.
Or renting out office space, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, totally. So one thing I didn't ask you in the last podcast, but what is your favorite Quake weapon?
My favorite Quake weapon. Well, the thing about Quake 1 is like some of the weapons like pretty much suck. They're worthless. Like the nail gun, like underwater. I played a lot of Clan Arena and nail gun, super nail gun, and the super shotgun were always like pretty good underwater. But it was basically just LG and RL was all anybody used because I mean 30 damage a frame. I mean the LG just like tears through people, especially with quad. So that's probably my favorite weapon. But obviously the Buckshot I like because back when I used to play in a 14.4, I know you're supposed to play with a 28.8 modem was the minimum, but it's like obviously I'm gonna try to play anyway. I wanted to get online and say I had like 400 ping or some shit like that, but the Buckshot was the only weapon I could get because there's just too many people with rocket launch. It just wasn't happening. So I just I liked how it said Buckshot eats 2 loads of Buckshots Buckshot. I don't know. I guess I was like 12, and
Yeah.
that was like hilarious to me. So I just stuck with that name, and yeah, that's why I'm Buckshot. But that's a good. I like that it's changed, especially with the GG mod and like the future Quakes. It's much more useful now.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of feel the same. It's like it's so easy to say like, oh, my favorite's like LG or the rocket launcher because, like you said, those are like the only two weapons there. But I do like the look of the grenade launcher. I've always liked the look of it. I think it's
Yeah,
a kind of an interesting design because normally you expect a grenade launcher to be kind of big and bulky, but this one's kind of got more like a narrow cone style to it and stuff. And I always thought that was a
yeah.
pretty interesting
I'm
design.
spamming GL as we speak. Yeah, but no, you're right. Since you mentioned that, I do like the GL, and I actually got pretty decent at like hitting people in midair with the GL. I try to get. Usually, you kind of use it to keep enemies from going. To keep them in a certain area, like to stop them. Like you'd shoot around them to stop them from going that way or something like that, just to hold them in place
Yeah, it's
and
kind of
not
like
really
a
attack people with it.
right, like a pin somebody down kind of
Yeah,
thing.
pretty much.
Yeah.
But you can get some nice shots if you're used to the curve it shoots, and you can get people in midair, and that's always pretty sweet.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. But yeah, I do agree about the nail guns just being almost entirely
Worthless. Yeah.
worthless, and just I don't know what the whole idea behind that was. Maybe they
The
thought,
Nine Inch Nails, is that why? I mean, they did the soundtrack, or
well, I
one dude
probably
from
for
there
the
did
gun, but like, why did they, like, why did they make it so slow
so
and
lame. Oh,
yeah, just
yeah.
like,
I guess in single player, it's better than the
I was
shotgun.
actually gonna say like in single player it's pretty good because the enemies don't really, they don't really move a whole lot, so you can hit them pretty easy. But like then you get into multiplayer. Well, I guess the thing being that Quake wasn't really a multiplayer focused game. I think it was
Well,
just something they.
I mean, it opened the door to it, though. It's funny. I just was bringing this up at work the other day. They were like going around, and we talk about like what's something that nobody knows or whatever, and everybody was talking about games. So I'm like, well, since everybody else is talking about games, I mentioned these, Quake, and I got these servers and stuff, and like half the people in the meeting like knew exactly what I was talking about, like Quake, but they started talking about Doom and stuff, and like I thought Doom was the first game you could do online. I'm like, no, that was modem to modem or IPX like LAN type stuff. But like, yeah, I'm pretty sure this was the first game where you could actually connect to a server, and it kind of opened the door for that because like that's what most games do now. But I don't know if you played back then, but I remember printing out like you go to like some website that had all the servers, and we'd print out like 27 pages of IP addresses and just try to connect to all of them to see where we can get the best ping. But yeah, that was like because that like the way it is in Match Browser, you got to host it from home from a desktop. It was cool how you could like just set up a server like anywhere and VPS and host games. So that was definitely a cool thing they did.
Yeah, yeah. I know what you mean. Like it did spring like obviously the arena FPS era games stuff like that. I mean that was the big
Right.
inspiration. But I could have sworn either I heard on either like one of their podcasts or maybe I read it somewhere or maybe I just made it up. I don't know. But I could have sworn I heard kind of like Romero and Carmack talking about how like multiplayer wasn't really like a focus point for them, and like all this stuff about like how Quake kind of became this inspiration. It was kind of just all like a big accident
That
kind
was like
of.
a big fluke, really. They weren't really planning for that.
Yeah, it
Really?
was just kind of like everybody sort of got attached to it, and then when that happened, it just became like this thing that everybody loved playing and stuff. It's at least
Yeah,
I
and
thought
then
I
Quake
thought
3,
that
there's
was.
like not even a single player mode at all. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, I mean there kind of is, right? Like you can play against the.
Is there? I never played Quake 3. I'm talking out of my ass. I thought Quake Live was pretty much the same.
Well,
I guess you can play against bots and stuff, but there's no like campaign mode or anything like that.
I thought it was kind of like how Unreal Tournament did it, where it's like
Never
you
played it.
build up a.
Not a Quake game. Sorry, I don't know anything about it.
Okay. Yeah, no, but yeah, definitely, really, I'd say they did a very good job, even if it was on accident.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. I don't know where we would all be if, honestly, it didn't exist. I mean, I wonder I wonder if you were to, like, guess, let's just say, like, Quake didn't, or, like, id Software didn't make Quake, picture that. What company would you think would be, like, the next company that would make, like, an arena?
3D Realms. I mean, they were the ones that made the Duke 3D at the time, and they were, they had that thing. I ain't afraid of no Quake. It was like something he said in there. That's one Doom Space Marine. There's a couple lines in there where they were kind of taking shots at it, but I thought they were like the main competitor for them at the time, because that's where Tom Hall went, who used to be the guy who worked on Doom, and they got replaced. They kind of kicked him to the curb because he had too much storyline in the game, and they were trying to make more of like an arcade type game. And then Sandy Peterson came in and like made all them. Do you know you know about this?
I don't know who Sandy
Peterson. He made like a ton of the maps for like the later Doom, the Doom 2, and he finished some of the maps in Doom 1. I forgot why we were even talking about that. Oh yeah, but Tom Hall, he went to work for 3D Realms and worked on Duke Nukem 3D. And I thought that they had this thing called 10 where you had to like pay for it, and it was kind of like a multiplayer. Are you familiar with that at all?
Oh gosh, I feel so stupid about it because I keep saying no, but no, I'm not.
No, it's all good. It's whatever. But no, it's no. I never play. I just played like the map one time, but I never went and paid for the 10 service. But yeah, you could play. It was like a 4-player capture or 4-team capture the flag. I don't really remember, but it seemed like there was 4 teams on this big map. And that was the closest thing that I had seen to what Quake was doing. So gotcha. I guess they would have been the ones to do it. I don't know.
What was the 10 service for? Like just the online service to get you connected or something?
Yeah, pretty much. You just had to pay some kind of monthly or yearly fee or whatever to be able to connect.
Oh, like some subscription thing.
And this is during the Napster days or around then, so fees. I'm not paying any fees. I don't know.
To be honest, I don't think anybody.
What's that?
Well, I was gonna say I don't think anybody really wants to pay a fee to like.
Well, yeah, I know, but online. I give people a hard time about not supporting the, not wanting to pay the $5.99 or $4.99 for the remaster, because that comes up a lot, and I just feel like they didn't have a lot of money to make. So it would be nice if people actually paid for it. And I even offered in Festiv's channel, I said, look, next 5 people that say they want it for free, I'll just, give me your Steam account, I'll just buy it for you. Because, I mean, those, actually, to be honest, those Night Dive dudes never really helped me with anything. They kind of were trash in the hybrid. But still, I think, like, there needs to be some support for what, if it wasn't for them making the remastered, this whole, we wouldn't have, you and I wouldn't have probably met. We wouldn't have this podcast. I mean, a lot of good things came of it. So,
yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about the trashing the hybrid. I was the one that kind of. Yeah. I was the one that kind of brought it up. I was the one that brought that up to them, and that was their response. But anyways, I'm not gonna shit on them. I mean, they got their own thing there, and it's like, they just whatever. But yeah, Night Dive did very good work. As if you guys listeners, if you recall, Night Dive is the one that's behind the Quake remastered. That was somewhat ported to the. It's hard to explain how they actually made the remastered text. It's like a framework sits on top of the game.
It's literally. I mean, the QC is like literally the same. They just added like the achievements, and there's a couple things. I mean, even when they did the CTF, it's like pretty much Zoid's code, like line for line, except they forgot the team spawns. So like at first, like you'd always were spawning in. So, and again, I'm not trying to rip on them or anything, but like they had it so that you would spawn you would always spawn in your base. So an enemy could just go into your base and just pick off spawns like the whole game, which is not how it was supposed to work. But yeah, it looked like talking about the CTF mod for that they released with update 4 for Quake Remastered.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know
they released that source code, and you could see that they never set the died flag. So basically, the first time you spawn, you're supposed to spawn at by your flag with the rest of your team. And then from then on, you should just be spawning at regular deathmatch spawns. But they had it so you always spawned in your base. So that meant that if somebody was stacked, an enemy player could go in that was stacked could go in your base and just pick off all the spawns. Which wasn't very
know
fun.
Exactly what you're talking about now. I know, because I remember I brought that up too, because I thought that was just like some weird bug or something like that, because it didn't seem really. It didn't seem like that was the correct behavior or whatever that should be
I think
happening.
they just missed the line from when they were copying the code. I mean, like I said, not knocking them. I know that they didn't have a ton to make. They probably didn't a ton of money to make, so they probably didn't have a ton of time to spend on it. I'm grateful for the fact that they brought it back.
So
I'm irritated about some things that they took out, like the fact that we can't, like console players can't connect. But hey, it is what it is.
Well, I know specifically that was for they were required to do that. It wasn't like their choice. Some of the choices they make, they were required to do that.
There's some legal ramifications.
Yeah, it wasn't like them just being like, "No, we're gonna do it this way." No, they were required to do it that way because like Microsoft owns Bethesda.
Yeah, fair enough.
It saw ID Software. It saw however you want to call it. They own them. So they were required to do that. But so did the CTF issue? Did it ever get fixed, or is it still?
Yeah, they ended up fixing it. I think Rook actually told Sponge or somebody. Somehow they got word and they fixed it. Gotcha. There was an update shortly after that, which I think was the last update they did. Unfortunately, but they added the prompts with that, so they did add some cool stuff with that update. Yeah, but the CTF, I don't know what happened. Like that's what I was originally trying to do when I was first started what became CRX. It was supposed to be like a clan arena and BTF deal, but I know like the problem. I think I mentioned this last time. The problem was the players like coming from like Quake Live or other Quakes, like they don't know all these maps. So like there's only so many maps that they can play from. And putting CTF on all these single player maps that aren't really like symmetrical, well, not even close to symmetrical for most of them, it's like kind of hard. It took a while to learn all those maps if you never played single player. So I was glad that they added like some of the. There's a couple that I don't understand how they picked the ones they picked, but either way, that was cool that they added some more maps. But yeah, the public CTF stuff that I added never really caught on, and I think it's because people just didn't know the maps. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened to T20. He hasn't been hosting that server for a minute.
Yeah, he was one of the few that like when the CTF update came out, he was hosting CTF all the time. But yeah, I'm not sure whatever happened to him, if he's still around, or I mean, I assume he's probably still around, but yeah, I'm not really sure. But
I mean, you can always vote to it. I don't know if Dan's still hosting the CRX on John Carmack, but it is votable.
Like I said,
point that out there.
Yeah, no, like I said, I haven't really been playing Quake 1 all that much recently, just because everybody's kind of moved on to other things, and then Quake 2 Remastered came out. For those listeners there, I did try to get several Quake 2 players for sequel podcast. I mean, I would still do Quake 1, but then I would do Quake 2, so you know what I mean. But like I did try to get several players, but then some some shit went down, and that didn't end up happening. And basically, that's kind of where the whole I didn't do a podcast for a while because I didn't have any guests there happened there. But yeah, hopefully with you, I can start something once in a while or something like that. I'm glad that people out there still like listening to this podcast, even though it's we just develop ourselves with Quake here, and of course we talk about other things sometimes too.
I listen to every episode, man. But like, you're saying it was only supposed to be about Quake 1?
Well,
Not just Quake in general?
Well, I mean, like, this specific one, I was going to primarily focus on Quake 1, and then with the Quake 2 Enhanced, I was going to, do like a Quake 2 section, and then if they ever did Quake 3, I'd probably do that or something like that. It's going to be like a spring of spin-offs from that point and then go on there, but like, what if we talk about other Quakes in this one, I don't care. Pretty much.
Okay, yeah, I probably will. Except this Quake Champions thing, I don't know much about that. I'm checking out if you start talking about that.
No, you're fine. You mentioned before we started something you wanted to talk about something about GG mod, was it?
Just how it made. Well, you asked me like what was my favorite weapon, and I'm saying like a lot of the weapons were useless until the GG mod, which was Kilo was the main driving force behind that. But the axe always bothered me a little bit, and I know people like Levon wasn't happy about that. Some people I don't think melee weapon that you start with that you don't have to get ammo that you always have should just be like insta-gib. That doesn't seem right. But I think like it should be comparable to the Gauntlet in Quake Live, which is 80 damage. So like if you at least hit him with an axe and then just shoot him with the shotgun, that seems more fair. At least you got to work for it a little bit. But that was the only thing I changed. And so the nails are faster. The super shotgun is pretty similar to the Quake Live one, where like if you're up close, it does more damage. And I think that really, really helped because there's some maps like Castle V2, for example, where the super shotgun is, and even though there's 3 RLs, there's like super shotgun is very useful on that map, and pretty much any map. And the nail gun, I mean, like you can kill people with the nail gun from further away. I think it really helped a lot, like to make the other weapons more useful. So, yeah, I was really happy to add that.
Well, it definitely gave
shout out to Kilo.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely gave a reason to use the other weapons because honestly, I don't think anybody ever really uses the other.
I would have never picked up a nail gun ever if it wasn't. I mean, I still don't really, but I mean, the regular nail gun is just still kind of worthless. But even that one does shoot a little faster. I think I've killed maybe 3 or 4 people with it.
I liked the axe when it did instant killer because it was just so satisfying to be able to like go up there and just one hit.
Yeah, but GG mod was supposed to be a weapon balancing mod, and to me that's not a balance. Sorry, but you don't even have to find ammo. You have it. You could stand by a teleport. There's a lot of places where you can get people with it, and it seems kind of cheap. I don't think it should kill a freshly spawned player. That was my only gripe with that.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
Especially the older player, like actually Clan Arena X, the one that Rook did, that had 80 damage axe, and no one really used it at the time. But that just seems to make more sense to me.
Yeah, although.
But I did make it votable. If anybody really wants to do the instant gib axe, you can still turn it back on.
I was actually going to say. I was actually going to say, because you're saying that insta-gib axe and then be able to like one-shot a newly spawned player, but can't you technically do that with a rocket launcher too?
I mean, technically, I don't know if you noticed, but in FFA, the starting health is 125, and it counts down a little bit. So like the rocket damage is random. It can go up to 120. So technically, if they shoot you right when you spawn, you won't die. I mean, you'll probably die like right after that. But it seemed to help a little bit. But yeah, you're right. In Quake Live, it's only 100. And I think you start with a little armor or something. But Yeah, it just sucks when there's a lot of people on small maps and you spawn and die. I mean, nobody likes that. But with if somebody's like, it got to the point where everybody was just running around with the axe because it was like better. I mean, you could just run. Yeah, I mean, you could just hide behind corners or at teleporter exits and just get people. I don't know. It just didn't seem balanced to me,
That's
and
kind of the
nobody convinced me otherwise, so I changed it.
yeah. That's kind of the problem with the railgun in Quake 2 is
Oh
that
my gosh, yeah.
you
Wait,
literally can just one shot somebody who spawns.
how much damage does it do in Quake 2?
It does 100,
100?
flat
Oh,
100.
okay,
Yeah.
yes. See, I like the 80 in Quake Live better, but yeah, I still. That's one of the problems I have in Quake Live. I'm used to the LG, like totally, like just tearing people apart, because like the quad is still times 4. It's 30 damage, so it's 120 damage a frame. Pretty much anybody on your screen is dead. I keep getting quad in Quake Live, and I switch to LG, and then I get railed from like a mile away. I don't even see the dude, and I'm dead. And yeah, that is kind of annoying.
It is
But
one of those things where it's like it's kind of a hard weapon to balance because if you think of it mathematically, like well, like in Quake 2, I don't know if the armor works the same in Quake. I assume it probably does in Quake Live, but
no,
in
it's only goes up to the red, like the fact that like red absorbs 80% and yellow is 50%. That's all gone. It's just you get armor, like the green armor is 25, the yellow armor is 50, and the red armor is 100. And if you get anything more than 100, it counts down to 100, just like the health does.
so
So
how
it's
much
a
how
little
much
different.
damage reduction does it do?
That's a good question. I'm not exactly sure.
Oh, okay. So I was gonna say like in Quake 2, excuse me, in Quake 2 the damage reduction is kind of the same as Quake 1. You got your light armor. Excuse me, I got a cough here. You got your
No
you got
problem.
your light armor, which does your 30%. You got your medium armor, which does your 60%, like the yellow armor, and then you got the body armor, which does 80%, like the red armor does. So mathematically, when you use a railgun and it does like let's say a flat 100 damage there, that's let's see, that's 2 shots when you pick up at least one body armor because you only get 100 armor when you pick up like body armor, and then you get 50 when you pick up the medium and stuff. So it's 2 shots. Now if you were to change that and let's say even drop it down to let's say like 99 or something like that, well now it's like 3 shots, and now it seems like a piss poor weapon. Because it takes significant because then you got other weapons like chain gun, which is a super fast fire rate, does like 6 damage per bullet and stuff, and then you got like your super shotgun, which does a lot, which does like double the damage compared to what it does in Quake 1. So it's like mathematically it's really a weapon that you can't really balance very well, at least the way how Quake 2 is. I don't know how Quake 3 armor works. Maybe they figured it out doing it that way, but yeah, in Quake 2 it's just like something I don't really think can be
I
balanced
I
perfectly.
just want to know how you just totally owned me while you were in the middle of that conversation. Like I swear, once Woods got here and I'm trying to talk, like I'm just I'm just playing like shit. I have 2 frags. Um, I don't know how you do that.
After 12 episodes, I started
Oh,
learning some things, and I was
fair
just
enough.
like, I guess I do have to be careful because sometimes I can go into like a full concentration thing, and then it's just like I start forgetting what the hell you even said there. So I have to try and balance
Okay.
that around so I don't completely ignore what you say, but at the same time, I don't want to seem like I'm just running around doing absolutely nothing in the game, so people are wondering like, why the hell am I even live streaming this? Yeah.
But back. No, that makes sense. But back to Quake 2. Yeah, I never really got into that. I was still playing Quake 1, and then I went to college around then, and I finally had like broadband internet in my room and stuff. So it was kind of hard to resist when you can actually, because like that's one thing about NetQuake is the ping it totally matters because there's no like movement prediction or anti-lag or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So when everybody's on 56K at like 150, 200 ping, somebody comes in there with like, DSL or whatever, they're probably going to just destroy everybody. So when I went to college, we had like T3 or something like that, and yeah, I had a pretty nice thing. And I tried to play Quake 2 for a little bit, and it was just so many differences. But when I look back at it now, they actually added some. They did add some good stuff. In Quake 3, I think they got it like with the weapon balancing. Like we're talking about the railgun. Like one thing you do is like run up in their face because it's really hard. It's a lot easier to get people with rail from further away than when they're right in your face.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about like the right, learning how to because there's also the really slow weapon switch time. So it's like I don't know. It's about getting the right weapon in the right situation. It's been difficult for me to get the hang of it after playing Q1 for so long. But my dad actually played Quake 2 back when it came out. He was in the clan and everything, and like I've been trying to get him on the CRX server. But he's a little older now, and he's just black. And I think one of these days he'll show up. But yeah, I don't know. Thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah, no problem. So does Quake? I really haven't played much Quake 3. I think I played it like once or something. But does Quake 3 have slow weapon switch and stuff?
Yeah, if it's just, I mean, Quake Live does, so I'm assuming that it's. I thought it was. I never actually played it. I actually have it. I bought the Quake bundle. The one year they had the QCon thing. They had all the Quakes for like $30.
Yeah.
So I have it. I just still to this day. I even have the original CD for it from way back when. I just never played it. I don't know. I might have played it. I just don't remember about the weapon switch thing. I had a friend who was really into it, but I was so into Quake 1. I knew like a bunch of players and CTF, CRCTF, and was what I was playing. I was just into that, and the hook like really sucked in Quake 2. So I need the hook. That's one of the things I hate about Quake Live is the CTF has no hook, which really pisses me off.
It's interesting because isn't that like that's like one of the big things people play like CTF, right? Is like just to be able to hook around and stuff like that.
In Quake 1?
Well, just CTF in general, right?
Yeah, but they did. Well, they have the hook in Quake 2. It kind of sucks because the slow weapon switch. I think so. I think they started the slow weapon switch in Quake 2 to answer the question you asked. But they don't have in Quake Live the CTF. The grappling hook's not there at all. So I know they have like the bunny hopping. I mean, you can kind of get around quick. There's jump pads and stuff, but it's just not the same to me. I want a hook. I keep every time I play it, I keep trying to hook. Like it's there, but it's not there. I'm just so used to it.
The like bunny hopping and stuff. It's kind of more similar to how it is in Quake 2, right?
Yeah, or Quake World. If I would have played Quake World a little bit, I probably would be more used to that. I think that's where they started that, right? That was like 97. I don't know which was first. I'm assuming Quake World was before Quake 2. But you can that's where the bunny hopping started, right?
Well, I mean, technically the original Quake, I think, had it, but yeah, no, Quake World.
But not to the extent of like, I mean, in Quake Live, you really pick up some speed from jumping, but in Quake, I mean, like when you're grappling and you hit the ground, you jump, you do get like a little bit of boost in Quake 1, but regular jumping on this server you do because of the physics mode, but in regular NetQuake servers you don't. There's not much bunny hopping.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah. It's interesting how each Quake sort of changed that, right? Because in Quake World, it's more, I guess, freeing. It's more like it's less. It's so weird to explain. So like when you go and play Quake World and you b-hop, you can kind of just shuffle your left and right keys, stuff like that, and gain a bunch of speed. In Quake 2, it's more side strafing, right? Like you have to kind of hold down one key and then jump like that there, rather than because there's no like free air strafing like you do have in Quake 1. So like when you're jumping, you can't turn left and right so much. You can very, very mild, like very, very slightly you can turn, but not like how you can in Quake 1 there. So there's no that in there, so you kind of have to side strafe there. And I believe that's how Quake 3 is too. I think it's more similar to that. If I'm
In
not
Quake
mistaken.
Live, I usually hold down one strafe and keep jumping. I'll get speed. So it sounds
Gotcha.
like what you were saying in Quake 2, but I never really got into I still haven't played the remastered. What do you think about that? How'd they do with that?
The Quake 2 remastered. Oh,
Yeah.
I mean the netcode alone is a significant improvement. I'll say that. But you have to know that Quake 2 is built from Quake World code. When you have this Quake 1
Oh,
enhanced
okay. Well, that answers
is
my question before then.
yeah
That makes sense.
Quake. Well, I just mean Quake 2 in general, like original Quake 2. That's built from Quake World code. So
Right. No, I was wondering before which came out. I assumed it was Quake World, but yeah. So
right, yeah.
that bunny hop and stuff kind of picked up from that. But I was still playing NetQuake, so going to Quake Live, it's like people are like jumping over my head, and I'm like, what's going on here? I didn't, I just wasn't used to it.
Yeah, definitely. It is a skill that does require a lot of time and a little bit of patience. I remember kind of when I started actually learning how to do a bunny hopping, I was learning that I was doing it wrong before because I always had a habit of kind of holding my forward key down, and just like logically when you do it, that's kind of like instinctively you're like, well, I want to go forward, so I'm going to hold down my forward key.
Hey, could you guys let me spawn at least? No, I'm sorry. I'm just getting my ass kicked in this game. You're probably not even. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
I don't know if you realize, you guys, you killed me and then Woods killed me like the second I spawned.
no, you're good. Yeah, but I forgot what I was saying.
I'm sorry. I didn't.
No. Okay. So going back to what we were saying before about you asked me if how I feel about Quake 2 and stuff, and
Yeah, how they do it, the remastered, yeah.
the remastered is definitely an improvement. I mean, just over the Quake 1 remastered, I was mentioning about that, but of course I was talking about the difference between netcode with
Right.
Quake 1 enhanced, because Quake 1 enhanced is built from NetQuake.
NetQuake, right.
And
I got what you're saying.
Quake 2 in general, just like the original Quake 2, is built from Quake World code. So and there wasn't like different ports made from Quake 2. It's just Quake 2. There's not like a Quake 2 World, or like a Net Quake 2 or something like how we have with Quake 1 there. So it's just that one code there. So the remastered is built from that code, which includes the original net code, and with how Quake World did it. And I'm talking like Quake World back in like
Carmack did that,
like the early 90s, and I mean the late 90s, early 2000s, like that Quake World code, not the Quake World code we see with like like how Spike did it with FTE and stuff like that.
Yeah, the stuff that I think Carmack wrote that in '97, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, yeah, that kind of stuff. That's the stuff I'm talking about. So they took that code and then improved based on that, and obviously one of the things they added was actually some of the stuff that you guys, I don't know if you were part of it, but like you and I think Dan and CK and all of them, like with the anti-lag stuff, like they added that into the remastered of Quake 2 there, so that was a.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Well, just
cool.
for.
And they were shitting on our version. I mean, like they didn't give us the client code is that it's probably because it has all these API calls to the VNet and the Steam API and PlayFab, and they probably don't want to release that stuff. That's my guess. I don't know, but yeah.
Well, I mean, even so, you could still. I mean, like they have it on GOG. Like they don't need to release that code to release a source code. Again, I don't think those are the reasons why, but like those are some blockers or whatever you want to call them that would stop them from doing it. But anyways, what I was saying was like they added the anti-lag like how you guys do it, but it's just they only added the for hit scan weapons, so that'd be like your rail gun.
They didn't do the project. Yeah, so that's what happened. Dan brought me in, or Kilo and I had been talking about that before, just how would you implement anti-lag, and then Dan brought me into that chat, and then I did a prototype just for hits, just to keep track of times and stuff. And then I did the hit scan weapons, and then CK took her from there, I think, with Brecky's help to do the projectile stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think JP Olio changed up a little bit as far as how it keeps track of time so that it would work for console players using the kill command.
Okay.
So that because there's only so many commands you could stuff to console players.
Right.
So yeah, so there's a couple people who were involved in that, but yeah, that was a pretty cool project. Adding that, I wish they would have not reacted the way they did.
It's like they're all good developers over there in the end, and
okay, if you say so.
Oh, well, okay, all right.
I mean, I've been developing for 30. I don't know. I'm just kind of a. I don't know.
You're picky.
Picky about what people. Yeah. But since you mentioned it before, I did want to mention CK. When I was listening to his episode, he was talking about how he didn't have much stuff left in the code. He's like, that's the end of my. Or he was talking about something he added, and he's like, that's pretty much the extent of my changes to Quake 1. I don't know if he realizes how big of a help he was to CRX. I want to give him a shout out, man, because like he used to send me DMs, and he used to. Dan told me a lot of stuff too about from the console perspective. Both those guys were a big help, but CK was like on the hybrid. He messaged me from LFG and stuff, and he's a programmer, so he was giving me like the exact kind of feedback I was looking for. Like the one thing I could think of was if you're spectating somebody who doesn't move, like if you go to the next map and you're spectating somebody and they don't move, then you're kind of stuck. So then he suggested a change like jump. So it's like Quake Live where you press jump and it will respawn you somewhere else in fly mode, so you don't get stuck. But I think I added just about every single thing he suggested, and I'm not sure if he's aware of that, but I did appreciate all those. A lot of people mention stuff. I listen to everything and try to take it all into account, but he had some really good ideas. And plus the QE HUD is still used in QE, and some of the stuff he did for the team stats, I just added on a little bit. But yeah, that his stuff is in there. So I just want to make that clear that CK did contribute to CRX, and I appreciate it. I put on my website everybody who was involved. You're even on there, but you're just Squid because your name's too damn long, and it put it on the next line. But if I add some more people, I'll put your full name in there.
Wait, why am I on there? I'm not a coder.
No, as a tester.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I put people. I don't know. Some people were testing or play. Just the people who were on there playing, and everybody had feedback, and that all was helpful. So I appreciate.
Gotcha.
Everybody who played and mentioned anything.
Well, I'm glad I was able to help. I'm not sure what part I helped with, but I'm glad I was able to help in any way there. And
well, you brought people here during the podcast. I mean, like just anything.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I see.
No, but you mentioned we've talked about stuff in the QRC.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just giving feedback. That's all useful.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Shout out to a fest, by the way. Like his Netquake IO. Have you ever played that?
Oh, yeah. I have with the little middle schoolers.
Sweet, man. At what?
The middle. It's kind of a joke. I mean, well, it's kind
high school kids or middle school. Yeah, because they don't have it blocked. That's awesome, though. I mean, people there's like 16-year-olds playing Quake 1. I mean, how cool is in 2024? How cool is that?
I don't know if you know this or if you even know who I'm talking about, but do you know who Coco is?
Cuckoo, of course.
Cuckoo, right? That's how you.
We were friends, and then he deleted his account. I think. I don't know.
I think he officially retired from Quake now. I think.
Oh, that's too bad.
I don't want to. I don't know for sure. I don't want to speculate, but
he was beefing with that one John Wick or whatever. Like they were always going at it about him camping or so. I personally felt like Cuckoo just knew the maps. He knew all the maps, so he knew where he was able to know where people were going to come from and shoot at the right place and he kept calling him a hacker, and then that's pretty much what that was all about.
Honestly,
Typical Quake drama.
If you play on pub servers, especially in Quake Enhanced, Quake 2 Enhanced, probably even Quake 3 Enhanced, if they ever do that, it'll probably be the same thing. But if you go on there, you'll always get somebody who will call you a hacker, and it like 9 times out of 10, it's always a console player.
Yeah, there's matadors everywhere. We know. Hey, sorry, but he's been trolling pretty hard for like 3 years straight now. Or
I
almost.
don't, like I think, geez, do you remember the one dude who was like the big leftist hater dude? That
I was just asking you about that with the SV cheats.
Yeah.
He was that was the same guy, right?
No, that was a different guy.
My bad. Okay, there was somebody doing like his name was always about Biden or something like that.
Oh yeah, no, that dude, that's the dude I'm talking about. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, just my gosh, like I don't understand how people can just go in a game and their only objective is to load up a server, kick everybody off, and just play with like some shit easy bots, stuff like that, and then I don't know. Was he one of those?
There's somebody in Quake 1 like that, as you mentioned that. But I won't get into that. But yeah, that's just part of the game.
Oh, there's somebody in Quake 1. There's somebody in Quake 2 that does that too, and they're just, oh my gosh, I don't understand. It's just, if they spend less time bitching, they would probably get better at the game.
Much better,
and then they wouldn't need to bitch about the game. But
that would be using logic, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, but I guess some people are just built that way. It's just they.
Yeah.
The problem is I think they think they're really good. So when they get somebody who's
they're good at wherever they played at before, and then they come over here and they get beat
and
down.
They find
like,
somebody.
These are all hackers.
Admittedly, like I've never like called anybody out, but admittedly, like in my head, I've thought a few times playing against people, and I'm like, Jesus, does this freaking asshole cheat or something like that? Like in my mind, that's popped up in there a few times.
I've played with 300 ping, dude. I do not understand how Matador is competitive. The way that he hits me around corners, like it just doesn't make any. Okay, I won't dwell on that anymore. But yeah, a little suspicious there. But I've never said anything about it. It's whatever. I'm happy to be playing Quake after all these years, really, because that kind of stuff. So I remember back in the day, every time somebody died, they say Pack 2, like just as insinuating that they're cheating. That's just always been part of the game, whatever.
I can't remember if I ever talked about. I think I might have brought this up once before, but I had somebody one time call me a Pack 2 user, and at the time.
You didn't know what he was talking about?
I had no clue what he was talking about. I'm like, what the heck is Pack 2? What, like I've never heard that before. And you have to know, like I'm like compared to you guys, I'm fairly new to Quake Online. So like, when people talk about like old stuff back in like the early 2000s and stuff like that, it's like that goes over my head. I don't know what you're talking about. I've never played at that time, so it's like stuff like that there. But yeah, the Pack 2 stuff really had my head scratching because I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, dude.
Do you get it now though?
Yeah, no, I get it now. There,
you could add up. Yeah, originally you could add like 8 different packs, and you had the Pack 0 is the shareware, Pack 1 is yeah, so they just say Pack 2 would imply that you had some kind of hacks in there or whatever, and that was just the thing that everybody said.
Yeah, I really got it after I found that article that told me how somebody was using it for wall hacking and stuff there, and I think I shared that on the Discord once before, but yeah, I
honestly don't know why somebody would play this game for so many years and cheat. It's like I know there's a lot of accusations with people.
Can
people
you
say
actually
things about Mons? I just don't get it.
Now, from what I understand from how the remasters work, is that everything is like server authorized. I hope I'm saying that right, but like it's kind of not really possible to cheat in that way.
I mean, I know you can manipulate the binary and it will run, and if you run the integrity check, it'll delete it and then add. So I mean, I don't know what you could do from that end, but there might be something to cheat, like when you're hosting the server. But as far as just, I mean, you could probably like change some of your models to be like the player model to be like a, I don't know if this would still work in the remastered or not, but you could change it to like the long,
Mhm.
or you could change it to like the shub guy or whatever, and then like you would be able to see players from farther away or something like that. I don't know if it checks all the models, but if it checks the size, does it actually check that they're the exact same file? I don't know. I've never really looked into that, but
Yeah. But what I was actually going to ask was, is it actually possible to cheat on other clients, like NetQuake clients and Quake World clients, stuff like that, or
I mean,
is
if
like,
there was a way and I knew how, I would prevent it from being able to connect here. At the moment, I don't. I know there was a whole bunch of stuff over the years that people had used that I like I'm saying, I don't think that many people that are playing this game are going to cheat. Like, I mean, I guess it's possible, but I would imagine the people who are still around now from those days, they're going to want to really play.
Mhm.
Like, for real. Like, like people give Bonds a hard time. I guess he like took a hiatus and he came back. He's way better than he was, so people were suspicious. And I was just talking shit the one day to Woods, and he got defense. I really wasn't trying to say anything. I just said seeing through walls because I just got hit with the crazy shot. But I mean, just people talk shit sometimes. But I mean, I don't really. The Matador though, that I'm just I'm definitely suspicious of him. But like everybody else, I don't really see anything that like when I have a demo I could send you. Like when somebody's botting, it's pretty freaking obvious, and their efficiency is like through the roof and
Mhm.
things like that. So you can usually tell.
It's very obvious, especially in mods like InstaGib, stuff like that. Like that, I think that's probably where stuff like aimbot
Did
would
you just get,
probably shine.
dude? You suck. I'm trying to have a good conversation here, and I'm just getting destroyed by you. Um, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what we were talking about. Damn, it's
And
already past time, but I
no,
can keep going as long as you want.
I got you. But I just wanted to say one more thing in case listeners forgot, or I don't know if I even did mention before, but Metador is a well-known Quake enhanced player. I think he's played. I remember someone showed me a video back during like early Quake World days by someone named Metador. I don't know if it's the
Oh,
same
really?
player. Well, that's the thing. I don't know if it's the same player, but I think it was also because I think Metador's an Aussie player, and I think
Right.
the Quake World was about an Aussie player too. So it could be the same player. I don't know, but he's definitely a well-known Quake enhanced player, very good player. I know we're kind of shitting on him, but no, he's a
Well,
good
actually,
player.
I think Plank is from Australia, and he has like a 200 ping. He does surprisingly well with that ping. I don't know if the anti-lag stuff has anything to do with it, but
I was gonna
yeah,
say
his ping. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I know like a lot of players that like ping that 150 around that like 130 to like 150 60 era there, and it's just like their aim is like godlike. I don't know.
Well,
It must be the anti-lag or
the
something.
anti-lag is accurate up to about 150. So if anybody who's at 300 ping, it's gonna roll when they fire. It's gonna roll back to where they were at 100. That's 150. That's the max. So they still have to like lead their shots a little more. But I think 150 with anti-lag and movement prediction is totally playable. That's what I ping at the UK server I have, and I can definitely move around and hit people.
Gotcha.
But I don't know if that would have been the case when I in regular net Quake without the anti-lag and movement prediction.
Oh, 150 on regular netquake. No. If
Eh,
if you're godlike aiming on that, you're aimbotting.
yeah, most likely.
Yeah, most likely. Well, we hit a little past our 1 hour mark there, Buckshot. Was there any last comments you wanted to say or anything?
I'm just happy. I just want to give a shout out to anybody who comes and plays at the hybrid. Anybody who plays Quake at all, keeping the game alive. It's even if it's Quake Champions. I know I shit on that earlier, but no, seriously, all the players and the community. Just want to say what's up to everybody, and I hope you keep playing. I don't know. That's pretty much it.
Cool.
I know I'll keep playing as long as I can. I got rotator cuff issues and tennis elbows, but I'm gonna play as long as I can.
Well, a game like Quake, a lot of hand-related issues like carpal tunnel, stuff like that.
Yeah, and when you're a programmer, yeah, it does.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Help,
Then,
but
yeah, definitely.
but I'm gonna play until I can't physically play anymore.
There you go. Until your hand falls off, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Gotcha. Well, it's been nice having you on here, Buckshots. I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this episode up here for episode 12 of the Squid QE podcast with guests. I have a few more guests after this episode here. I'm not going to promise a consistent schedule or anything like that, but definitely have a few more guests after this one, hoping to get on here and stuff like that. So stay tuned for that in the future. And I thank everybody who is still out there listening to these podcasts. I know it's been a long time since my last one here, but I'm glad to be doing this again. I like talking to all the pros out there in the Quake community there, and learning about all their experiences, whether you're a mapper, a programmer, or you're just somebody who's got like 20 years of experience who want to play. I'll listen to all you guys. You'll have your hour to shine on here. Just reach out to me if you wanna, or come listen to us here, stuff like that. I guarantee you'll be entertained here in some way. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Thanks, Buckshot, for coming on to this one. And
Sure.
I'll see you around, man.
All right. Thanks a lot for having me.
All right, bye.
See you.